Here's a digital, bellish, spacey type of sound I've used in a few videos. And on the Novation Summit, it relies entirely on the top panel controls, no menu diving, but if you want, you can add that type of modulation. We can check that out at the end, which will require some menu diving, but initially, nothing needed. And I like to do this with irregular, sort of compulsive rhythms, often alongside of a drone sound. And this sound could be recreated on many synths, but we're working with the Summit, and let's try to create it. So I'm going to initialize the patch. If you're familiar with the 90s show, Saved by the Bell, you might remember the principal's name was Mr. Belding, and I always thought that Belding was a clever name for a high school principal, especially on a show called Saved by the Bell. So this patch is called Space Belding, and we're going to start with 2 oscillators. We'll see what the third one sounds like at the end, but oscillator 1 is going to be a sine wave, almost up to the highest volume, and oscillator 2, a triangle wave, only at about 50 or 55, but bring in a healthy amount of shape. So you can hear that coming through now. And with a bell sound, you want to hit the maximum amplitude pretty quickly and then have it kind of ring out from there. So we're going to go with a very short attack. And I don't like it at 0 because sometimes you get a bit of a poppy sound. So I like to have it, I'm going to go with about 8, and then a moderate decay, high sustain, about 100, and a moderately high release as well. I've got it at about 80 here. And now you can kind of start to hear the rudimentary sound emerge. Now let's add some pre-filter overdrive before we get to the filter. All right, and then for the filter, I'm going to use a high pass. Now here it is all the way closed. Here are the highest harmonics emerging, and the lower ones. I have it almost all the way open. I'm going to bring the VCA gain down just a bit here. So it's almost all the way open, just cutting out some of the lowest lows. Now I'm going to add some envelope depth to the frequency cutoff with a short attack and a moderate decay, sustain, and release. And let's set the depth to about 12. It's subtle, just closing the filter a bit and then opening back up since it's a high pass filter. All right, and then let's see what happens when we add some effects. Bit of distortion, lots of reverb. You want it to reverberate for a long time. And I'm using the size number 2, which Summit has 3 options, so I'm using 2. And then the level, I'm going to go pretty high as well, up to about 60 or 70. So you can hear kind of, we're getting to that initial sound, and it already sounds pretty good. If you want, you can kind of toy with maybe bending the pitch a little bit using an LFO, which you can do here in the oscillator section on Summit, or use the modulation envelope too, so you could try setting a mod envelope for the pitch as well. I'm not going to do a lot with that here, but you can get some nice effects with that. So try it out, see how it goes, and then let's see what happens when we add a third oscillator. So let's try using the 4-foot. The first 2 are set to 8-foot. Let's just to get some more high harmonics in, we're going to go with 4, and let's bring it up about halfway. And we're going to go with a sine wave on this one too. So it almost starts to have, you can kind of hear the organ-ish sound starting to come in because of the higher harmonics alongside the lower ones. All right, bring that down just a bit. Bring the drive up just a little bit and maybe a bit more distortion. All right, and that's kind of where you want to go with this. Like I said, you can add some interesting effects to add that sort of popping explosive sound that I had at the beginning. You're going to want to dive into the modulation matrix, and we can use, I have a pedal set up here, but if you don't, you can just use the mod wheel. And so we're going to do 3 things using the mod wheel. So using 3 slots, mod wheel, again, and again. All right, back to slot 1. The first time we're going to control the filter frequency cutoff, just bring it down a little bit, -7. Second time, we're going to control the filter resonance, bring it all the way up. We didn't set any resonance initially. We're going to go to the max here. And then let's try adding just a little bit of noise in the third slot. Noise level about 12. So here it is with nothing. So it's a nice thing to throw in there every once in a while. And that's about where you want to go with it. You can definitely try adding some post-filter drive, which you can do in the menus, maybe stacking the voices. Let's even just try that real quick. You can stack voices, go with unison to bring down the detune. Maybe add some spread. So there's a lot you can add onto this, but this is a really nice starting place, I think. I hope it's helpful. I'm just sharing what I learn along the way as I learn it, but I enjoy this a lot, and I'll post some more of these videos in case you'd like to subscribe, and enjoy your day.